Hi Year 11, welcome to A Christmas Carol, Stave 1, a summary. The novella opens by telling us that a character called Marley was dead. The narrator emphasises that there's no doubt about Marley being dead. This is important for later on. Then we're introduced to Scrooge, who used to have a business with Marley, and he never painted out Marley's name. Thus, he's not really bothered, he goes by both names. Scrooge still runs this business, and then the narrator starts to describe what he's like as a person. The description of Scrooge tells us that he's isolated from society, but he doesn't care. After these first impressions, the writer then takes us into Scrooge's counting house. It's Christmas Eve, and he and Bob Cratchit are at work. The divide in social class is symbolised by Scrooge's fire compared to Bob's really small one. Very soon, Scrooge's nephew Fred arrives. He almost bursts in, wishing his uncle a Merry Christmas. But Scrooge is different to Fred, and he doesn't share the same values as him. It could be argued that Scrooge represents society's selfishness at the time, whereas Fred is Dickens personified. Scrooge can't understand why his nephew is merry, and his nephew can't understand why Scrooge is so dismal. Fred further symbolises Dickens's views on Christmas by saying that it's a time to be kind, forgiving, charitable and pleasant. Bob loves it. Scrooge warns Bob to shut up, otherwise he'll lose his job. So Bob does as he's told and goes back to work. Fred continues to try to get his uncle to attend his Christmas feast with his family. But Scrooge has absolutely none of it, and he repeats good afternoon. So Fred leaves. By leaving the door open, two portly gentlemen enter Scrooge's counting house. Scrooge is quick to tell these men that Marley has been dead for 7 years and he died on Christmas Eve. The men assume that because Scrooge has got money, that he will be a charitable person. And we are very quick to learn that he certainly is not. It's very important to remember that there was a significant divide between the rich and poor in Victorian times. The poor people were known as being destitute. Scrooge begins to ask, are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses? Implying that the poor people should go there. Scrooge believes that because he contributes to the poor law, that he shouldn't have to do anything else. So he tells the gentleman to put him down for nothing. And they're chuffed. They believe he's going to make a donation, but remain anonymous. Scrooge is really quick to say, no, I wish to be left alone. He supports the prisons and the workhouses, and he won't do anything more. The men go on to imply that these establishments aren't very nice. In fact, many poor people would rather die. Scrooge retorts that they're better off dying, it'll decrease the surplus population. Similarly to how he got rid of his nephew, he bids the gentleman good afternoon. And they leave without any donation from Scrooge. Next, Dickens starts to describe the setting using pathetic fallacy to reflect this dark, dismal mood. Scrooge then turns to Bob, asking if he needs the day off tomorrow. I think we see a little bit of kindness here because he does give him it off. The two men lock up shop, going home, one to bed and one to their family. When Scrooge gets to the door that leads to his house, he's slightly startled because he sees the face of Jacob Marley in the knocker. He tries to act like he's okay, but he does check every room in his house and he does double lock himself in. As Scrooge tries to settle down for the night, a bell in his house starts to ring. The noises in Scrooge's house grow louder and louder, and then a spectre comes in, covered in heavy metal chains. Scrooge questions what this ghost wants, and the ghost replies and tells him that he once was Jacob Marley. Trying to act casual, Scrooge tells the ghost to sit down and blames this hallucination on bad food. Then, to scare him, the ghost takes off the rag from around his head, dropping his jaw down to his chest. This gruesome image shocks Scrooge to the core, and he asks, why is Marley there? Marley begins to explain that every man like him is required to come back to Earth and witness what it could have done but didn't when he was on Earth. He then reflects on the chain around him and admits that he forged it in the life that he led before his death. The chain is made up of bad things, and Scrooge's is even longer. And when he hears this, Scrooge asks Marley to comfort him, but that's not Marley's job. Scrooge is then somewhat rude to Marley's ghost, saying that he took too long to arrive. Marley erupts and cries about his captivity. Scrooge tries to reassure the ghost that he was a good man of business, but Marley says that mankind was his business. He should have helped his community more. Time's running out, so Marley says that, look, 3 ghosts are going to come and visit you, Scrooge. Scrooge must listen to the ghosts. Leading Scrooge over to the window, Marley goes outside and the air fills with more phantoms like him. Phantoms are tormented because they are powerless to help people now they're dead. It's been a long night for Scrooge, so it's time for bed.